So Dan is worried about this. Dan is worried about how today is going to go.
Mm-hmm.
He sends me texts when he's not around, when I'm filling in. And today, there's a lot more than just me filling in.
It's a team of people filling in for Dan today, yes.
It seems like Dan reached out to everybody he knew and said, I'm worried about how this is going to go. Can you come in? And everyone said yes at the same time. And now Dan's not here yet, which I'm sure at some point he'll pop in.
Sure.
And then it's like we actually have no seats.
It's more telethon than it's ever been, but it's a star-studded telethon.
Is it?
I'm just looking at Greg.
Yeah.
Takes a village.
So this is what Dan said to me. Quote, make the smartest show, not the most convenient one that protects the most feelings.
Wow.
Thank you for a cryptic message that really doesn't help anyone.
What does he mean by that?
I just know that it wound up with Dominique sitting in the shipping container.
Dominique was offended by that, and I said, look, I got 4 hosts here. Who's the most versatile? Who can I put anywhere? And I said, that's you, Dominique. You're like a running back that could play anywhere.
I've never been more insulted in my life.
And you should be.
You call me a running back?
You could be a running back. 'Cause you're
You
versatile.
could be
What?
executive producer.
Dominique has been trying to coach up Chris. I've appreciated. Like in the meeting, which supposedly starts at 8:15, that I don't know if it ever actually started. Dominique was trying to get the attention of the room to look at Chris.
Well, Chris was trying to get everyone's attention, and no one was paying attention to Chris, so Dominique stepped
We
in.
have a fun environment here, and,
Right.
people are talking, and there was just one thing I wanted to get out to everybody, and it took me a couple, hey, everyone, that's always awkward. When there's like a group of like 20 people talking, and you're trying to gather the attention of everyone.
And you never actually accomplished the getting everyone's attention. So I was like kind of whispering to like, hey, they do look up there. Hey, take
My
over
trick
there.
is to like act like it's just like, hey guys, can I grab you for like really? I really want everyone's attention.
You know when we got everyone's attention? When I said, hey,
Yeah.
and everybody shut up.
And I said, thank you. Excuse me, everyone.
You need a bullhorn.
Thank you.
Nah. You need a pair. You need a pair. That's all you need.
Pair of bullhorns?
But there's a lot to get to. I want to play Pretender Contender at some point today. Greg is beefing with Zach Thomas. We have a lot to get to.
Pair of bull somethings.
Truck nuts.
Truts.
Are you doing
Smart.
the smartest show yet?
Yeah.
I'm now thinking about whether Truck Nuts is the actual product name or if that's a thing that people just started calling it.
Are you saying when someone came up with that invention, was the original name Truck Nuts? Because I believe it was.
Really?
I'll look it up, but I believe it was.
I would think they
Yes.
would go with truck testicles only for the alliteration. It's a little.
So
Does that count as alliteration?
So you think truck
Doesn't it?
testicles sounds better than truck nuts?
Yeah, I do. Actually.
I mean, I know alliteration like start with the same letter but same sound, and I feel like tra and ta doesn't quite give me the alliteration feel that I would like.
Testicles. How about that?
What do you think, Dan? So we came in, we all parachute in because we're like, hey, Dan, you need this time to mourn, and I think we're making it worse. I think he's at home right now watching this like,
Well, he is always sweating. So if he's sweating now watching it, it's normal.
It was Truck Nuts with a Z.
Oh.
Now we're getting smarter.
I don't like the Z.
Now we're getting smarter. It was a Z.
I don't
God
like,
damn it,
I
Pablo.
don't like
Yeah.
when we use a Z as opposed to an S and we think we're zany. Like, it's not that exciting. It's not that fun. I don't like the Z
Wait,
used as an S
I mean,
in any setting.
I mean, what about that guy over there, Stugotz?
wait, Chris, you don't like it even for Bofa?
No, I don't like it. I think it's lazy. Use the S. I'm pro S.
What if the S is not available? Because sometimes it's not available, so people have to improvise. They go with a Z,
In what instance is the S unavailable?
Nuts. Nuts. So you go Nutz.
But how is an S unavailable?
Trucknuts.com.
I got
Perhaps
you, Stu.
was unavailable.
There you go.
So
There,
yeah.
yay!
Yep. Thank you.
There's seemingly major controversy over the history of truck nuts.
This is what I suspected.
A number of people claim to have invented the truck nuts industry, i.e. plastic store-bought truck nuts. This is via Wikipedia. David Ham, owner of YourNuts.com, spelt with a Z, said he saw a pair of custom truck nuts at a rally in the 1980s, and then in 1996 began manufacturing and selling plastic truck nuts commercially. But John D. Sollers, owner of bullsballs.com, says he was out driving his 4x4 off-road when someone yelled, "Go, Ernie, show him you got balls,"
Good job,
which inspired the idea, and he began selling them in 2002.
I mean, Jeremy,
That's
great
a
producing.
Great job. What kind of rally you think it was?
I can think of it.
Do bicycles do nuts? Because I feel like there's some potential here. Bike nuts. Bicycles.
Where would you hang them from? There's no.
You didn't
there's
go
no
alliteration
bumper.
with that one.
The back of the seat.
You're like,
back of
don't
the
want
seat.
bike balls. Just going to go straight to bike nuts.
Bike balls. Wow.
You just had a whole alliteration combo.
Bike balls would be good.
Yeah.
I should
We're
have done
smarter now.
I'll say that I didn't realize when we were talking about truck nuts that they were actually like flesh colored. That's the Wikipedia image here.
Mm-hmm.
Whose flesh?
Touche.
I think it varies.
What, the shade?
There's a rainbow coalition of truck nuts. Zzz.
Why can't there be?
I mean, I've seen truck nuts on the streets, and I see a particular group of people who have trucks that have nuts.
I would even venture to say that if I saw a truck with the nuts of a certain shade that we're talking about, I would not be thinking, oh, that guy identifies with this shade.
I think there's a future with bike balls, man. I'm picturing now every Sunday morning, there's like, do you guys have this in your neighborhood? Just bikers. They wear the uniforms. They go full out.
They're annoying,
I
yes.
hate that.
And there's like dozens of them. What if they all had bike balls?
That doesn't seem like the demographic that would buy this
I
product.
could see it.
Well, no, because they're also trying to be aerodynamic, and this would stop that.
Yeah.
That's true.
Put on the poll. Do bike balls slow you down?
That's good executive producing.
Am I the only one who thinks truck nuts are exceptionally vulgar? I feel like I'm being a prude. But
No, Greg, I'm looking at this photo. The Wikipedia photo on the page that Jeremy just very expertly read from is of a GMC SUV with a pair of, yes, like light-colored, fleshy testicles that are objectively pretty explicit.
right.
I mean, you have them. Why can't a truck?
Well, mine aren't on display.
Well, they can be.
Well, that's okay. Let me. All right, whatever. But I think it's like I'm imagining. I put everything in the context of me, of course,
We know.
and I'm imagining I'm in the car with my granddaughter, and she says, "Pop, what's that?" And then it's just like
You just be honest. Those are the
No,
balls.
I want to hear him talk this out. What would you tell her?
I like. Wait, hold on. I like the differentiation between what Chris would tell his own daughter and how Greg is explaining it to Chris's daughter. Because yeah, just be honest.
They're balls.
Yeah.
I think I would say something like they're a toy that some truck owners like to use as an ornament or something.
I think you made
Like
it
to
worse.
use.
I don't
Did I?
think you need to call them toys. It's like,
What age can you like stop saying "I don't know" to a kid? Like, because I feel like that should be my approach with like avoiding conversations like that. Like, what
playing
is that?
dumb.
Like, I don't know. I don't know what that is.
Yeah, that
ask your
works.
mom. I should probably stop short of like ask your mom, right? Like when I don't want to explain something, because then she will become like the villain. So I just like I don't know, and then my kid will grow up just thinking I'm an idiot that doesn't know anything.
what are the things that you don't want to talk? Because it's like most of the things that are uncomfortable are because society has made them uncomfortable. Like socialize you to think they're uncomfortable. So when you're with a kid, like with my kids, whenever they ask me stuff when they were young, you just tell them, and then it's not weird.
So wait a minute, hold on.
No, but I think Billy's wondering the age where you just start telling them the truth about everything.
0. Like when they pop out, you rinse them off. If they ask you a question, tell them the truth.
No, that's when you
Wait.
lose. Once you're honest with them is when you lose
Like
the battle.
my daughter yesterday was asking me about being home. Like, why is this person out? Like, I was just like, yes,
Unhoused.
unhoused. Sorry.
Unhoused with a Z.
And and I was just like, yeah, some people struggle and they don't like it's just I feel like it's good for them. Just be honest. Don't like put like weird energy.
Okay,
around
wait, hold
things.
on. Let's test this. So, Chris Cote, your child looks up to you and says, "Dad,
I said homeless, so apparently I'm a bad parent.
Yes.
Daddy, what is death?" And you say,
We've done that too. People die. Yes, it's very sad. They were old. This person was that dog died. We're very sad. We're gonna celebrate the life, and Yeah, I mean, what else do you say? You just be honest and. Yeah, what do you like? Run like no, that they
Wait,
went on
Billy,
vacation. They'll be back.
What's
like,
Billy Gill doing? Parent back from paternity.
So my daughter comes up to me and says, "What's death?"
Figure it out when you get to it. Yeah.
Ask your mom.
You have to say it in that tone of voice.
Billy's calling for special teams. He wants the punter to come onto the field.
Poor wife.
Now,
I don't know.
My daughter, my oldest one, is 12. So, like, we have conversations about religion. So my wife grew up Catholic, and we go to church pretty regularly. And I'm not super religious, but she, like, has questions about it. And the funny thing is, my perception on it has changed many times. And it's just like, I mean, through the history of the world, there's always been religion. So it serves some purpose to all of us, even whether we want to accept it or not. It's a tough conversation to have with a 12-year-old. It's a lot easier. That's the thing I want to warn you guys. It gets harder. It's a lot easier to have an honest conversation with a 4, 5, 6, 7-year-old. When they get older and smarter than you, it's impossible. They
They're like,
ask
why?
harder questions.
Why?
And I'm like, I don't know. Internet. I'm taking all the locks off the internet. Read whatever site you want. Stop asking me questions.
Oh, there it is.
Oh, my God.
YouTube.com/LeBatard
show
and friends.
That seems like something that I don't know we can show.
Oh, no, because we turned it up that way. It doesn't make it. Well, actually, it looks worse.
It
that way.
looks
Yeah, it
worse
does.
now.
Yeah.
Like that looks like
Yeah.
not
It does.
just truck.
That's
nuts
Nothing to be
anymore.
proud of.
Yeah.
I got to tell you that.
That would make good earrings, actually, if they were like miniature.
You should
Good
buy
earrings?
that to some. Buy that
Yeah.
for someone as earrings, please.
please.
I would
Please
do
do that.
If they came in earring shapes, I think that'd be great.
If I find before the show's over a pair of testicles that you could hang on your ears, you will buy that for someone.
I will.
You will
Absolutely,
not.
100%.
We'll buy them for you. Will you wear them?
What?
I will give them to my wife as a gift.
Really?
Yeah, honey, I bought you a pair of earrings.
Got 15 seconds, Greg. 15 seconds.
Oh, come on!
Yeah, thank you, Dominique. Not that you whispered anything to me. So,
been-
Dominique, what would you tell your daughter if she said, "Daddy, what are those?"
Is he trying to reverse?
Truck nuts.
I've been trying to bofa Chris Cote for an entire segment.
So I've made this now my mission to find this for Greg, the earrings that he says that he will purchase. And I found a pair of Croc balls that you put on the back of your Crocs. So it's truck nuts for your Crocs that you would put on the back of your Crocs. Also, when you go to the Etsy page, because I put testicle earrings, it takes you to a page that says testicle jewelry.
Nice.
And it's but if you go down a couple
Well-
rows, then it's like a literal, it's like jewelry
Yeah,
for your
like
testicles.
piercings.
Ah,
Yeah.
okay. All
Yeah.
right.
But I'm
Sounds
doing this for
painful.
work because this happened on the show. So
Yeah, we can expense all of this.
okay. I don't know what cost I would incur just searching, but are you really going to buy these for your wife?
As a joke, I would. Sure. As a gag.
How do you think that will go over?
Not well.
Okay.
She will never wear them. They will never be seen again. It will be a very expensive joke, but it'll be worth it.
What's your most expensive joke? I guess everyone, this is a question for the class. What's the most expensive joke that you've done / where's your line of thinking like, this is funny and I'm willing to pay this for the joke?
I joined Meadowlark Media full time.
Joke is on them.
We took one of my teammates' cars in Denver, and we took all the tires off and put it on blocks in the parking lot.
Who?
Well, it was Carl Pema was his name.
Could have made up a more interesting name.
That felt like the setup to a Bofa type thing. Pema. I like how Stugotz referred to Meadowlark Media as them, by the way.
What do you mean?
Jokes on them.
Did I do that? It was unintentional.
The conversation I had with my daughter about religion
Yes.
was interesting because I was kind of like, it's stories, you know, and it feels dismissive, but also it's like, no, people need stories. Like I tell myself stories all the time. And one of my friends that I grew up with is working on his book now. He's trying to become a tenure professor, and he's had a hard time. And he's had a hard time finishing this book that he's been working on for 8 years.
Jeez.
And he needed some help. So I told him, no one believes in you. Like, you're not supposed to be here. Everyone thinks you're going to fail. No one's rooting for you. Man, knocked out a whole chapter the next day. You need a story. Sometimes you need a story. That's why we listen to athletes. Everyone says no one believes in us. And I feel like religion is the same thing. It exists as a story that we tell ourselves to motivate ourselves, to inspire ourselves. Like, you need it. And that was the definition I landed on for my daughter, because I don't want to say whether it's right or wrong or real or fake. I don't know. But it's something that we've always needed. And you may need it sometimes, and sometimes I feel like I need it, sometimes I don't.
I know I'm going to need it. Like, religion to me, if I'm being honest, I grew up super Catholic, parents super Catholic, mom read at church. We went every Sunday, got married in the church, all of that stuff. And to me, if I'm being honest, it does feel like a bit of cosmic insurance. I know there's going to be a point at which I need to appeal to something that can help me make sense of something terrible. I mean, I thought about this with Dave, with Dan's brother last week. Just like in my moment of need, I'm going to need something that I tell myself about myself that makes me feel better.
I really appreciate it now. Like I never really was like super religious, but going to church now with my family is not that I believe in all the chants and get all moved by all that stuff, but more than anything is like, it's a forced moment of like reflection. It's a forced moment of contemplation, and they're like universal principles. And most religions have have similar principles that they remind you of, and I find that it's nice. And the weird thing was, like in my early 20s, like I was like, let me read the Bible, let me see what this is really about. And then I got to the point where I was like, this is all horseshit, and anybody who believes this is dumb. And I'm looking around at smarter people, older people, like, what are you doing? Because that's how you feel when you're like in college. You think you're smarter than everybody. And the older I've gotten, I'm like, I was such an arrogant asshole. Like, this has been around since humanity has been around. Religion has been around. It obviously provides some purpose, whether it's real or not, whether some guy walked on water or whatever or not, does not matter. These principles are important. And the stories, back to the stories, exists to reinforce these thoughts. Who cares whether they happened or not?
I'm not a churchgoer, I will admit, but isn't part of the lure just the sense of community, the sense of being among fellow believers? Like, we all get strength in that, whether we're in a stadium cheering for the same team or in a church. Anytime we're with like-minded people who believe the same thing, I think there is innate strength in that, right?
January 6th. I mean, like people
took a
think the
turn.
same thing.
And sometimes it takes a wrong turn.
By the way,
Everything has pros and cons.
Yes.
Dominique has basically established that he lets his kids read QAnon message boards, that he is now super religious, and also is in favor of, just insurrecting now and then.
Not in favor. I was just making a joke because Greg was explaining all the reasons why church is good, and we were just thinking at the same time that those are all the same thing, like-minded people believe in the same thing.
Well, this is the issue. No, Dominique,
who are
the
willing
issue
to sacrifice for what they believe in.
I relate to the person who decided to be too cool for religion. And then the more you realize, as you think about what you're going to tell your kids when they ask you, like, what happens if there's no brain in my head? What's that thing in the sky? You end up going off on an explanation that does remind you that I actually don't know. And more than that, the limits of human knowledge, of human consciousness, prevent us from ever actually knowing the real truth. And so saying there's a door behind which we cannot understand, which is religion, basically, I have come around all the way back.
Further than just religion, just in general, you sparked this thought that I had, and like I like to learn, so I do a lot of reading and do all that stuff because it's important. But the thing that I've realized relatively recently is that the more I learn, the less I know. It's like every time I read something, it opens up a new chapter or a new discipline for me to learn more about, and it seems like it's consistent with like the knowledge that we all gain. Is they don't like close off disciplines in college. They're not like, hey, guess what? We finished philosophy. Like, no, it leads to another discipline, and physics grows out of that, and something else grows out of that. It's a weird place to be in because you'll never actually, like, the world is not a book. Like, we can't get to the end of it. Every time you get to a smaller particle, you then realize that is made up of even smaller ones. And it's just I don't know.
You happy, Dan?
Dominique did turn to me at dinner and say that he was reading books about physics, just genuinely. And so I say that just to say that I said a lot of things in this segment that may sound like I'm also Kyrie Irving. There are things we don't know, we'll never know, that science cannot tell us. I just want to be clear that I also hang out with people who read books about physics. Stugotz also turned to me as the segment was beginning a segment ago, and he had a fistful of Mega Millions tickets.
Yes, I did. And yes, I do. It's a big night tonight.
Did you pick numbers? You go random? What do we do here?
I went with the quick picks.
Yeah, you got to.
Yeah.
What numbers did you get?
Well, I have $100 worth of tickets here, so.
$100 worth
of
tickets?
Yeah, it's a big night tonight.
Yeah.
Go big or go home.
Yeah.
Don't say the numbers.
Just give us the number, like, because there's how many segments? How
What
many
does
tickets
it
do you
matter
have?
what the numbers are?
Just curious.
8's a big number for me tonight, Billy. 8.
Just read one set of
Read
numbers.
all of them.
All right,
Read all
all right.
100.
What if it happens to win? I guess you still have the ticket.
I still have it, right? 8, 11, 20, 21, 60, and 2.
Good numbers. Mm-hmm. Wow, 20 and 21, man. That's a bullseye right there.
Yeah.
Does Stugotz know how this works?
No.
What's the next set of numbers?
Got a 21, 31.
God, stop. He's literally costing you money with this.
How
Because if
so?
people go out and pick these exact numbers, you now are sharing the prize.
I quick picked them.
Yeah,
No,
he
but
quick picked.
that
he quick
doesn't
picked-
matter.
He quick
But
picked
if
them.
they're the winning numbers,
Right.
whoever
No.
else has
No.
those winning
You don't
numbers.
get it,
Listen,
Chris.
No,
if I'm sharing $1.5 billion with somebody else, I'm fine.
But what if it's with 48 people because we have
Right.
a lot of listeners?
There's
quick
no
pick
way
them.
48 people are winning.
Exactly
Yeah.
right. There's
No
no
way.
way 48 people would get the same numbers.
Right.
What was the second set?
Exactly.
Instead of a DraftKings sponsored betting segment, it should just be Stugotz reading his lottery numbers.
Do one a segment. Just
Okay.
because that's what
All right.
everyone's talking about today
Yeah.
is the Mega Millions.
Yeah. All right.
Everyone.
Yeah.
So I did my 1 so far.
Just put a check mark or something so we don't do that one again.
Okay.
Yeah.
Always there for me, Billy.
All right. You really spent $100?
I did.
Did you?
Yeah.
Wow.
Remember that time that me and you went in? I think $100 ahead on the big power, and then I just forgot to buy the
Yeah,
Powerball
no, I do
tickets.
remember that. It cost us, what, $100 million at that point?
What is faith if not buying $100 worth of Mega Millions tickets?
When it gets to a certain point, you can. It would take an impossible. It would take a team of people, but when it gets to a certain point, the number is above the odds, so you can guarantee winning if you buy that number of combinations. And I don't think that your chances is 1 in 1.5 billion.
Wasn't there a
right?
Bryan Cranston movie about this?
I don't know. But the thing is that you're risky. Like, let's say you decide to buy every possible combination of tickets, right? I don't know what the number is that you can have on this. But if you buy every combination, you could guarantee winning, but you're completely gambling on the fact that someone else will have that number, and then you could cost yourself hundreds of millions of dollars.
Jerry and Marge Go Large, 2022.
Yeah, I'm sure we could figure out how many permutations there are. Like how many? Yeah, there we go. There has to be like 2-digit numbers. How many different numbers are there? Like 5 or something? I've never played the lottery, as you can tell.
I only play it when it gets to be an exorbitant amount. If it's only like 78 million,
Right.
I don't bother
What's
with
your
it.
number? What's your threshold?
$1 billion.
It's got to be like,
Because you're self-respecting, yeah.
it's got to be close to $1 billion for me as
300
well.
mil. I'll get in there.
Okay, so the odds are 1 in 302.6 million. So if you spent $600 million, you guarantee that you will have the winning ticket for 1.5 billion, but you're hoping that no one else has it.
Right.
I don't think that's how that works.
That is definitely how
I
it
don't know
works.
how it works.
No, it's
but
definitely
based on your description.
if
I'm
it's-
going to say that's not how it
If
works.
it's 1 in 302.6 million, there's 302.6 million combinations, correct? So if you buy every combination, you're guaranteed to have the winning ticket.
I just love me walking into my gas station with 1.6 and just being like, I'll take all of them.
It's gonna be a while.
Give me all the options.
I'll be here for a minute.
Fill out all those forms.
Is that even possible? Because, like, how long does it take to print a ticket?
You need a team. You need a team of people to do it.
I would take all the options except like 20 of them. What are the odds?
I tried to sell this as a show to our salespeople like a couple months ago when it was high again. I'm like, I have an idea. I'm gonna need you guys to invest $600 million, and I'll just keep the difference. But I guarantee you'll get your money back. They didn't like the idea.
15 seconds, Greg.
Oh, Jesus, man.
Thank you. A little angel whispered something in my ear. So, Christopher, you're going to save $20 then. You're gonna spend.
gack.
Okay, good. That's smart. That's a kid I raised right there. Little kid.
This is terrible.
You playing today or?
This is the new and unimproved Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz. Gamble on by DraftKings.
I feel bad that Dominique is sitting back there. I mean, not that anybody sitting back there is beneath us in any way.
Hey. I like being back here with the proletariat. You monarchs, you can have what you want. Like, I'm man of the people is who I am.
Dominique is organizing shipping control, shipping container, mission
control.
Container.
Somewhat, yeah.
But speaking of people who are not in rooms where they have been invited, Greg Cote has a Zach Thomas feud that is brewing, and I am concerned.
I should be too, because this came up on the Greg Cote Show podcast, the new episode, and Christopher brought it up, and I think I looked really bad discussing it. I feel I don't feel bad what I did.
It's insanely sensitive by you. Let me paint the picture for the audience.
Please.
Zach Thomas, Dolphin legend, made it into the Hall of Fame after years and years of not making it. Greg Cote, a big supporter of his, wrote many a column saying why he should be in. And once he finally made it, Greg Cote was invited to Canton with his wife, +1, like Stugotz was for Baselli.
Yep.
A great, memorable weekend. You get to be part of the private after party. A really cool invitation. I'm pretty sure a lot of media members are not getting invited to this. And in weeks leading up, my dad's like, maybe even you and Christy come. Like, this is exciting. Let's make a whole thing of it. And then as we got closer, I was like, I'm not going to go. But Dad, are you going? Like, is this happening? No, I'm not going. I'm not going.
Well, a couple of things changed my mind, and one of them, frankly, was that I was sort of hurt when I wanted Zach to be on my podcast. Leading up to the Hall of Fame induction, and
It's a fair ask.
And I
He
mentioned,
got him in.
and I mentioned it. I mentioned it to him weeks and weeks in advance. It's not like I'm asking him, the day before he's leaving for Canton, and he politely turned me down, and I was a little bit hurt by that.
What was his reasoning?
His reasoning was that, oh man, I'm laying low, I'm swamped, I'm getting hit for so many requests,
Which is probably true.
If I say yes to you, I gotta say yes to him and her and him. And
Yeah, but only one is invited to be part of Zach Thomas's entourage at the Hall of Fame, and that's you. You had every right to ask for that.
I think so.
Yeah.
Right, and you can be disappointed. I don't think anyone is like begrudging you for being disappointed.
I was
by
sort
him.
of hurt. I was sort of
Wait,
hurt.
so
by
you
it.
said no to Zach Thomas, this exclusive invitation, a unique invitation.
Where he could have gotten content at
where
that
you
party.
could have gotten content because you wanted to stick it to him. You wanted him to recognize that Greg is not here because I said no to him.
No, I didn't want to stick it to him at all. And after he told me that he couldn't or wouldn't do it, I texted him back and said, I'm disappointed. I understand.
But did you understand?
I understood.
Moral of the story here, Dad, you're sensitive.
I understood, but I was still hurt.
It's a little sensitive.
Is that a text? Is that a conversation? How do you express dissatisfaction when you're trying to tell somebody who's offered you something nice that it's not nice enough?
I didn't say that. I just said, and this is the other part of the story that needs to be told. In concert with my decision, two other things were at play. Number one, the Miami Herald has next to no budget for travel. And had I gone to Canton, it might have affected whether we could send a second person to Germany for the Dolphin game. Okay.
You're reaching now.
Okay. How about you get my boss on the phone?
Dad, but they wanted you in Canton. Like now you're like, I saved the money.
But Greg is saying there's a budget, and that would have prevented someone from going on a more important trip, and Greg would have ended up having to pay for it on his own dime.
And when you
That's
say
like me saying I didn't go to Tahoe so that everybody else could go.
Okay, when you say they wanted me in
Tahoe?
Canton, they were fine with me not going to Canton because it saved money. And the other thing is, Canton's got very strict rules. Nobody can speak to these inductees after they speak that day. So in other words, theoretically, I'm going to Canton to write about Zach Thomas and getting inside stuff because I'm there. No, because I can't talk to him afterward. And so that was another reason why am I going?
You could have talked to him privately at the party. Afterwards.
That's at night. That's not for what I'm writing.
How responsible? Let's say the 100% of him going to the Hall of Fame. What percentage do you think your advocacy accounted for?
Oh, I'm sure none, or next to none.
That's not what you've said.
Good answer though. You know how to play the game, baby. I like it.
Look. I jokingly, I'm like, I'm the reason he got in. I know better, but. The things I wrote and the support I gave him over the years, there was a reason why I got a private invitation to his after party.
25%?
There it is.
Give us the headline. Say the thing. Rip him.
No, I'm not going to rip him.
on.
As far as I know, we're still on good terms.
This sounds like a classic destination wedding situation, right? Where it's like, hey, why don't you travel this long distance at your expense to come celebrate me? Oh, you can't? It's too expensive? I guess I understand.
Okay.
I want you to be there, but if you can't make it, I get it.
I know, but the rule there, Billy, is never invite anybody that you hope doesn't show up because they might show up. And in fairness, I had RSVP'd yes. I was going to go.
Then he said no, and he knew that was
But you
the
had your
clincher,
terms,
man.
yeah.
And quite frankly, my wife bought a hotel reservation and airfare, and we got a refund on one, but not the other.
Just
so
a
it actually
sad
cost me money not to go.
Just a sad one-way beef. Zach Thomas isn't even aware of this. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you made this stance.
We're going to make him aware of this.
I mean, maybe now he will be. But
First
it's
of
just
all-
like, you made this stance.
Well,
and
no.
Do you think on Saturday night at one point, Zach Thomas was like, man, where's Greg at?
No.
No, but your dad did send them a text saying that he was disappointed, so he knows. He's aware.
I hold no grudge. I'm thrilled that Zach got in. He deserved it. I could give you 100 reasons why he deserved it. And they made him wait 10 years. 10 years.
Greg, how did Zach Thomas, Hall of Famer, respond when you expressed any of this to him?
Our last exchange was me saying, I'm disappointed, but I understand. Doesn't change the way I feel. You deserve this. Have a great weekend, I think was what I texted him. And that was a week or so ago.
No response?
I think we
No,
have
we
some.
haven't.
So that was the last text.
We have some B-roll of this after party, and it looks like a real banger. Like it looks like you missed
YouTube.com/LeBatard and Friends.
Oh man.
Yes. This is, how would you describe this? It feels like a scene from Dunder Mifflin.
It's
There's like a real
that is Bob Kraft dragging a
Zonka.
chair across the
Zonka.
floor. Yep, LT.
Oh wow, LT.
A lot of
looks bored.
slacks.
LT couldn't look more bored.
Oh my God.
Greg Cote would be one of the youngest people here.
They need a better venue.
They
Is that
really
Lawrence
do.
Taylor?
Are they just like
Oh my God.
at like a hotel conference room?
I think that's exactly what it looks like.
Not the back of Jason Taylor's head.
All right, maybe you didn't miss much.
It's
That's
drop
not at all
ceiling.
what I imagined it would be. To
The
be
kind of
honest with
ceiling you can throw like pencils into and they would stick.
Stugotz was Baselli's. That's sad.
Baselli's was great. I mean, I had a blast. I got to be honest with you. I did. I got into rooms I never thought I'd be in. I was in a room with all the Hall of Famers right before they went out for the ceremony. I was at the after party at Shad Khan's house. It was tremendous. Like, you missed out on a great opportunity. You
Sounds
really
like
did.
he knows how to celebrate.
What?
Like Baselli?
Proud of you.
Please press something that makes fun of him.
I just got back.
Celebrate. Love it.
Yes.
Wow.
Really?
You're an asshole.
Celebrate?
You are an asshole.
Wow.
What is Shad Khan's house like?
Big. Nice. Far away from my hotel, you know? Would have preferred it, you know, right down the block.
Shad
but-
Khan has a house in Canton, Ohio.
Shad Khan, I believe, with his son Tony, rented out a big mansion somewhere just outside of Canton for the party that night.
I imagine
he has a house in Canton.
I imagine he had it built for that.
I like the
Yeah.
idea of him just buying a house in advance of him arriving at any location. Like, oh, that's our, Vermont house.
In all 50 states, he's got a house.
It was very nice. I mean, the Basellis took great care of me. I have no idea what the Thomas's plans were for you.
Yeah. I'd have been in the corner of that sad room.
But I will tell you that Tony came on. Billy knows this. He came on before he went into the Hall of Fame. He came on after he went
And
into the
during.
Hall of Fame. And during. Yes. Yeah. He did.
Oh, the Bob Kraft slowly dragging a chair across
Is that
the
great?
floor.
Yeah.
He's got to have a
This
a
feels
chair
like an
dragger.
alternate universe where none of these guys are rich.
So just to tell everyone the backstory here, that's the room I was in right before the Hall of Fame induction ceremony. I got into a bus with Tony Baselli. I walked out and I just kept following Baselli. I knew I had no business being in that room. There was no reason for me to be in that room, but Baselli said, get behind me. He threw blocks. He got me into the room, and all of a sudden, I'm sitting in a room that I don't deserve to be sitting in. Edrin James is there. Michael Irvin is there. Bob Kraft is there. All the Hall of Famers are there, and I just started rolling.
So maybe this isn't the private party afterwards. This seems to be like the holding area after the ceremony.
That's
but still,
not-
I like the idea.
No,
of
right
this
before
being,
the ceremony.
Okay,
Yes.
so before. I like the idea
Yes.
of this being Zach's sad party.
I
though.
appreciate the back-to-back segments where we kind of like boxed them out of the previous segment, and now Stu and Cody have like effectively boxed us out of this conversation. I like it.
I think we should do this. These two.
We are doing two completely different shows at this point.
You know what? Let's do a competition. Stugotz and Greg versus Dominique and Pablo. Who can put on the better show?
Done.
Racism.
I mean, I have Greg.
Young and smart.
There you go.
Young and smart versus older
And?
and veteran.
Okay.
Grizzled vets. All right, grizzled vets. I found it.
Thanks for the
Nuts
compliment.
versus nuts. Mm-hmm. I don't like the hand we're playing here, Dominique. I'm a little afraid
It's a
of-
losing hand,
of
that's why. Yeah.
going up in Family Feud against Greg and Stugotz.
Don't be intimidated. I got you, baby. Just relax.
Who am I playing contender or contender with?
I think that's obvious.
Wait a second. Are you guys going to stay with both shows?
Yes.
How do you want to do this?
All right.
guys?
No, Family Feud style. We're dividing ourselves by race. This is how that show goes.
Big Suey, next hour podcast, Big Suey will be Greg and Stugotz hosting with the shipping container. Hour one will be Pablo and Dominique hosting with the shipping container. And then we'll reconvene for hour two and decide who won.
I love to reconvene.
Yes. Did I say wrong?
Are the odds out yet? DraftKings odds? Who's favored? Any idea? I think we're a 6-5 favorite.
I'm
Yeah,
surprised,
you're
that,
definitely the favorite.
I'm surprised that you know how that gambling odds work.
Wait, so
I
who's
don't-
deciding who wins? How does that work?
Me.
Everyone loses.
Huh.
Now we'll vote.
Wow.
Well, there's 4 people.
So Dominique and Pablo came to just not do the show for an hour. They're just going to sit outside and watch Greg and Stugotz do it.
I'm glad I left my family for this.
They
My
can go
actual
first.
family.
I mean,
We have one more segment before we do this game, so we should play
they
pretender,
can do the whole show if they'd like. I mean,
contender, pretender. Next segment
Sure.
with all of us.
Yeah, why not?
We'll reconvene after the break. So I can't stress enough how good the video we played of Bob Kraft dragging a chair across a sad conference room was. YouTube.com/LeBatard and Friends. It's a room in which Bob Kraft is being asked to do something I'm pretty sure he never does in any other room at any other part of his entire life. And all of these faces, all of these people, the thing about the NFL, the Pro Football Hall of Fame, Dominique, is that you put me in that room, I'm not going to recognize 95% of those people. I got Bob Kraft. I think, Lawrence Taylor looking at his phone.
Yeah.
It's a nightmare in terms of trying to make small talk for me.
Mm-hmm. It's where I thrive. You would notice Michael Irvin. You would notice more
Sure.
people than you think. But there are several older people that are there, Hall of Famers. I had no idea who they were. So at one point, I'm in that room, and it's a room I had no business being in. I just followed Baselli. I'm not supposed to be in that room. Only Hall of Famers are supposed to be in that room, and family and friends, okay? But I'm in that room. I turn. There's a man having a cocktail. I had no idea who he was. So I looked at him, and I said, hey. And he looked back and said, hey. And I said, introduce yourself.
Jeez.
He said, Ted Hendricks. And I go, the Stork.
Wait, you went with...
That's how you do it.
You went with introduce yourself.
Yes.
That's how you do it?
I mean, when
And
you
he
don't know the
did it.
guy's name. Yeah.
Guess what he did?
The guy
He
did it.
introduced himself.
That's what he did. He yelled out, the Stork!
I yelled out the Stork. Yep.
Should have done that with Jake Owen.
Fair point.
Started the same way.
I
Hey,
know.
hey, hey.
I know.
Hold on a second.
I know.
You were in a room
Thanks for
in the
bringing
hall.
it up.
You were in a room in the Hall of Fame you were not supposed to be in.
Yes.
In this club that these people work their entire careers to get into.
Yeah.
And you told them to identify themselves to you
Yes.
when you were not even supposed to be in said room.
Yes.
You were
Introduce
asking for like
yourself.
IDs of the people
For the people I didn't recognize.
if they
yeah.
should be in the room, you should not. have
Prove
been in.
it.
I wasn't sure who it was. I mean, I didn't know. It was an awkward moment. I'm there by myself. I'm floating around the room. I didn't know what else to do.
It's a testament to how valuable like confidence is. You just deliver anything with confidence, and it's just what I wouldn't give for just a day of straight white male confidence. It just must be great.
Not even Drake. Remember when Drake tried to get into, I think it was Miami Heat locker room. He said, he was told, this is media only. He goes sort of meekly, I am media. Like not even Drake could summon Stugotz's level of, I'm now the bouncer in Canton, Ohio energy.
I love that there is still a place on earth where the media outranks Drake. That's just hard to believe. Like you would think that he would be, there would be some special category for apex celebrity that would allow him anywhere the lowly media can go. That's incredible. Surprised to hear
What's
that.
your favorite Drake song? Greg?
I have none.
Not one. He's
No,
like the
I don't know.
biggest star in all of.
Can you,
music.
do you know any of like the songs? Can you like hum any of them? Do you remember any parts of any Drake songs?
I mean, Hotline Bling.
How does that one go?
Do like a top 5. Start from the bottom and then
Wait,
get to like
Greg
here.
Cody's top 5 Drake
No,
songs.
I'm not going to take a quiz.
No. This is just you.
That's his
saying
move
what
when he
you
doesn't
think
know
they
the
are.
answer.
That's
I'm not going
correct.
to take a quiz.
Right.
That's his move.
No, I don't. Look, I don't. I know Drake's celebrity. I know who he is. I know how big he is. I'm not a particular fan. I don't know his music. I'm sorry.
Can I just hear Greg Cody karaokeing what he thinks Hotline Bling sounds like? You're a crooner, Greg.
I know. I think God's Plan is probably a better song for me to sing.
There you go.
Yeah, but I gotta warm
Let's
up
do
my.
that one.
I
Two of your
gotta-
top
no,
5. You got 3 to
I
go.
gotta warm up my vocal cords.
All right.
You know, yeah.
We're setting them up for real success because at some point, Greg Cody and Stugotz are going to be in there doing terrible, like crooner versions of Drake songs. It's going to be a hilarious,
such
incredible
good
segment,
content.
and then you and I are going to come and nerd it out afterwards
Talking
and get
about
booed
God.
off the stage.
Yep. I'll be singing Jimmy Cooks.
Way Too Sexy. That's one of his, right?
Classic.
Future.
I wasn't sure about that one.
We got to steal it from him, Pablo. We got to steal it from you used to call me on my cell phone.
Frank Sinatra back here.
Now they can't do it. We boxed them out.
Is that
Now they can't do
Hotline
it.
Bling or? Yeah.
A God's plan, I say, it's God's plan. And that sort of thing. That kind of thing.
That kind of
Yeah.
thing.
Screwed that
Pardon
up
me,
yesterday,
boys,
too.
at the Chattanooga choo-choo.
Oh, there we go.
Won't you carry me home?
That's not Drake.
Do you have a back in my day today, or
No, I don't, Billy.
No, great.
quality control
It's a week off.
Dan's not
Quality
here.
control. Yeah,
Yeah, Dan's not here. You should know that.
GCW. Zagak, maybe next week. I'm gonna try for one next week.
Wouldn't it be QCW?
That-
It would be. Yeah.
Yeah.
doesn't make
Good
any
catch
sense.
by you.
Yeah.
Mhm, yeah.
It would be QCW. Then you pay attention. You couldn't let that one slide?
No.
Okay. Jeez.
It's an aggressive no.
Well, it almost as aggressive as you saying, "What's your name?" or however you
Identify
address
yourself.
This. Yeah,
Or
identify
introduce
yourself.
Introduce yourself.
What's your guys' move?
The stork.
What's your guys' move in a room and there's somebody that you absolutely should know the name of and you don't?
I leave.
Yeah.
It's
I
good to
just
be
leave.
with other people there so you can be like, who is that?
Right.
Who's that
Yes.
person?
My wife usually tells me.
I'm being told that we have sound on video of this stork interaction with Stugotz.
Yeah.
Hit it.
I'm gonna get you sipping juice.
Okay.
Introduce yourself.
Ted Hendricks.
Oh my God, Ted Hendricks, University of Miami. This is amazing. Oh my God. I'm from Miami, Ted.
All right.
Yes.
Just as awkward as we thought.
Even more
I'm
awkward.
way more uncomfortable than I
You
thought I would be.
started out by saying, "Look at you sipping juice." Identify yourself.
Look at you sipping juice.
That voice too is like there's so much in that. Stugotz, you're just a fountain of great things. Because the voice, I don't know what that voice should be used to say, but it's something. It's a special voice.
The stork seemed delighted, though. He didn't seem bothered
Oh, he
by
loved
it.
me. Yeah, he did. I mean, there was no one hanging out with the poor stork. I mean, so.
Yeah, how did you settle upon a guy that you didn't know the name of and had a camera pointed at him? Like, what was your
I was
plan
just
there?
scrolling around the room. Well, first off, I went to a place where there wasn't too much traffic in that room, and no one was standing by Ted Hendricks, and so there was a lot of space there, and I needed space. And then I just started scrolling around the room, and Ted was right next to me, and I could tell he was kind of looking through my phone from behind, like trying to see what it is I was doing, and
Ted Hendricks was trying to spy
I mean, he was 2 drinks in
into your
so-
privacy.
It was juice. I don't think that's what he was doing.
Drinking juice, huh?
It just I felt his presence,
What's
and
your name?
I needed to introduce myself, and I turned to him with a camera on, and I said, "Introduce yourself."
That's crazy. If someone said, "Introduce yourself to me,"
Right.
I would be taken. And I'm like, "What are you, a cop?" I would say, "Who are you?"
You have the Greg Cote show with Greg Cote. You'd be like, I'm Greg Cote. That kind of thing.
I would say, "Who are you?" It would be weird being asked, "Identify yourself."
You would have known who Ted Hendricks was, though.
Oh,
correct?
absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
He's 6'7".
Yes.
And one of the most distinctive-looking people in the room. Yeah, I definitely would have known him. Yeah.
Kiki, do you love me, baby?
He's Guatemalan.
He is?
Really?
Yeah, he was born in Guatemala.
Wow.
Ted Hendricks.
Went to school in Hialeah,
The stork.
Florida.
Wow.
Little known fact.
I played cornerback in the NFL, and
Yeah.
I am not confident enough just to walk up to a 6'9" stranger and be like, "Hey, juice, huh? Introduce yourself."
No, me neither.
Ted Hendricks speaks fluent Spanish.
Oh, wow.
My favorite part of Stugotz's interaction with the stork is that none of the things he said to him were questions.
Right.
Demands.
Look at you sipping juice.
Demands.
Sipping juice.
Introduce yourself.
Introduce yourself. The stork.
You didn't throw. Yeah, you left out University of Miami.
No, he said it.
No, I'm
I
just
think I
saying
said
when,
it.
when he told the story to us originally, you left that part out. Now I got to see that in the raw video.
Right.
Sorry.
When you ask what I would do in a room of people that I didn't know, can I draft someone to be in the room with me? Because I would draft Juju Gotti first pick in any room.
He's the
that I'm
best
in.
of all time.
Juju knows,
Yes.
like he is.
Explain what it's like to be in a room with Juju that you are terrified of, but he feels comfortable in.
It's not just that he has the confidence and he feels comfortable in that room and he'll go up and like say hi to anyone. He has an incredible gift of seeing someone's face and knowing who they are immediately. like from across a room, he can be like, that's, XYZ person. That's like the third receiver on XYZ team. That person used to play this, that, the other. He knows who absolutely everybody is based on their face immediately. When we were at Radio Row, we'd be like, there's like a crowd over there. And we're like, who is that? And he's like, oh, that's this person. And we're like, damn, like, how do you know that so quick? Facial recognition, an incredible talent.
That's my favorite game to play. Like at Radio Row's the best place for it. Like, oh, look, there's the skinny counselor from Heavyweights. Like I find the most random people.
In my mind, whenever I'm meeting somebody, I assume that they also have a clock in their head that is ticking and keeping track of how many seconds are going by before their name is said. I'm just waiting to be found out. And I am willing to wait for as long as possible. I'll get in a land war with somebody just to prove that I care about them so much that of course I have to know their name. I'm sitting there talking to them for so long. In reality, I got nothing.
When you introduce like your wife to someone, do you introduce the person that you're introducing to her by name? Because sometimes I won't. I'll just be like, hey, this is my wife, and I'll say my wife's name. And then I feel self-conscious as if that person thinks that I don't know their name when I do know their name. But it's like, am I just going to say everybody's name back and forth and then say I'm Billy and it's like a whole thing?
Do you ever do the thing when you don't know the other person's name, but you want them to think you do, so you kind of tail out? You're like, this is my wife, Christy, and this is...
a little Mad Lib.
Kind of fade away from speaking.
A lot of gesturing forward
And
as
this
if it's
is-
your turn now. Call and response.
Because people, if you just leave it open, people say the name. They will say their name.
The uncomfortable one is when you introduce yourself and they say, oh, I know who you are. Like, no, I was doing this so you could tell me what your name is.
Right. I'm terrible in a social setting.
We know.
I'm just the worst. I warn when my wife and I are together in a social setting, I warn her, don't expect me to introduce you to anybody, not because I'm being rude,
What a weird
but
thing to
because
say.
chances are I don't know the person we're talking to.
Just on the front end, you're managing
yeah,
expectations.
exactly, right.
It's a good job out of you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I mean, if you are the wing person, it's your responsibility to introduce yourself. If you know, like, if your wife was with you, she should be going up to people saying, hi, and introducing herself so that you don't then get caught in a situation.
It's a weird thing to say right before a party, though. I'm not introducing you to anyone.
Many times I warn her about that because I don't want her to think.
This is the new and unimproved Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz. Gamble on by DraftKings.